got our data and we've got it into a binder, it's organized. How do we get to lesson plans? Because that's still a lot, right? It's still this big mountain of data, and we've got to get to how does that impact instruction? That's the next little tidbit. So if you've been tuned out on us because you've already got a system, tune back in because this is about to give you some good tools. All right, in the middle, you'll see the student data summary. And guys, this is the bridge. For me, it was the golden ticket. And I can tell you, working with teachers across the state, this is the missing piece. How do we go from all this information on kids to what I'm doing at 9:15 at the red station or at 9:15 in my literacy group? And this is it. We need a way to take all of that information and put it in one place so that we're ready to move forward with instruction. And that's what the student summary does. So we're going to zoom forward. And we talked about at that first step of the table of contents, I said we're going to come back to that. That's what we're doing. That's the student summary. So we're going to spend a little time digging into this. And you can think about this through the lens of it's the beginning of the school year. I've got new students. How am I going to approach this? You can think of it from the perspective of I want to increase the connection between the existing data on my students and what I'm doing in the classroom. So think of it existing students or new students, however this works for you, but just kind of think about filling out that demographic information at the top. And then think about getting to that literacy section that we talked about. I'm going to zoom in on this a little bit so I can see. Okay, the first thing on there is the IEP goal. And does this look like a graphic organizer? That's all it is. It's just a graphic organizer, and it can be tweaked to meet your school needs too, but we wanted to give you some suggestions to get you started. So you've got your data folder. It's organized. You open up to the IEP section and you're reading through the PLAF. It's a student that's new to you, and you read down and you're like, okay, it says the student can recognize all of the letters of the alphabet, uppercase and lowercase. Excellent news. What are you going to do with that? You just read it. You can either choose to try to store it and hope that you remember that when you sit down to write your lesson plans, or you can capture it on here in the strengths section. So a strength for the student in literacies that they know their uppercase and lowercase letters. So I might look on the special factors page and see that there's some assistive technology for literacy. Or I might see a note about math and I can go down there and capture that. So you're going to print these off for every one of your kids, or if you're a digital person, you're going to save a file for each one of your kids, and you're going to use it to capture information as you go through your data folders. And then if you look all the way across to the right, you will see least restrictive environment. And that's something we really, really have to consider for each one of our students. Given the students' goals, given their strengths, given their needs, given their assistive technology, where's the least restrictive environment for this student? And let's really put some time and effort into thinking about how we can move these kiddos from a special ed placement to where they're getting some access to the regular environment. Okay, so customize these just like the table of contents. If it's not what your district's expecting of you, customize them. This one, you can see it even looks a little different. If I can get back to the other one. This one is a newer version. We tweak it all the time. So do with it what you need to. Then if we look back at this one, you can see this one's got different areas and where they want to teach it. So this teacher's kind of taking things a different direction and saying, here's the skill my student needs. I'm going to teach it at the red station. Or here's a skill my student needs. My speech path is going to come in and push into my classroom and work on that skill in the classroom. So just a different way of looking at how you can organize this around the available curriculum, what your district expects, add as much detail as you want. I write all over them typically and then go back and type them because they look like chicken scratch. And then individualized per the needs of the student, like we talked about in that section where we had the medical needs and equipment and things like that. So you can customize that stuff there. And that was really helpful to me, guys, not to forget that piece. Because if I had a student that was using an augmentative communication device, for example, I would have talked to the speech path and I would know that this is what I'm supposed to be doing. But I had that conversation in the hall, or if I'm lucky, I had it at PLC and I took a note about it, but that still doesn't get it to my everyday instruction. And that's what this document's designed to do, to take all this information that we know about kids and get it in one place so it's actionable for a teacher. And again, just organize it in a way that makes sense to you. And when you get done, add it to your data binder, especially if you are a project prepare implementation school. We really, really want to see these student summaries in your data binders. And you're going to keep it current, keep it updated. You're going to eat this elephant one bite at a time. If you don't already have a system, that's okay. Start small. Make yourself a goal that 10 minutes out of your prep time this week, every day, you're going to work on this. And maybe day one, you make copies of IEPs and you lock them up in your filing cabinet. And that's all you do day one. Day two, you put in a PO or you go scavenge the school for binders. You know, take this one bite at a time. And this task analysis will give you a little bit of a roadmap on what that might look like. That's that step-by-step guide along with the training that goes along with the training for today. So it's kind of your roadmap. What do I do on Monday? So just kind of look down through there and see what makes sense as a good starting point. And just as a plug, task analysis is one of those evidence-based practices where you take something big and it has a lot of steps and you break it down into its individual pieces. So hopefully that's in the chat for you. You can make a copy of that one. And then get started. It's too much data to try to wing it. I heard a really funny phrase that I had never heard before until last week, and Miss Julie was on this call with me. This LEA that I was talking to said, she might be a parking lot planner. I was like, what? She said, yeah, I think she's a parking lot planner. Y'all had never heard that. It cracked me up. But we got too much going on with these students, and they've got too much to lose for us to be parking lot planners and trying to wing it. So get organized and then summarize. I know that sounds a little gimmicky, and it kind of is. We worked hard on that one, by the way. But get organized, get your data folders together, summarize that information in a way that's useful to you, and go ahead and get started. This is something that's crucial to having good, solid instruction that will lead to a positive student outcome.